Welcome to Journey with Josh. I'm Josh Ubaldi, and we're taking you on a journey of a lifetime into marketing and advertising. In every episode, we're diving into the main ingredients that give you the deepest connection with your audience, as well as the biggest bang for your buck. Together, we'll solve every mystery about marketing you've ever come across so you can get all the leads and sales you want, and best of all, how to grow a business you truly love. Welcome back to Journey with Josh. Today's episode is very much for you. If you are not an extraordinary extrovert, you're like me and you're way more of an introvert. It is really for you if you know that you are absolutely not the life of the party, and you are definitely 100% not the center of attention in any group of conversation that is more than just two people, which is my favorite conversation, which is one-on-one, going deep, finding out what's going on, right? You stick me in the middle of a group of 8 people, and all of a sudden it's like I'm a crazy wallflower. And there's so much to that, but we're not here to talk just about that today. We are diving into know, like, and trust, because when you are not the extrovert, not the life of the party, know, like, and trust is such a strange and loaded topic. And we're going to look at two sides of that coin today, especially. Now, in my world especially, I had a very odd experience with this because in a way long ago previous lifetime, I was an actor. I was an actor in New York City, and then I was an actor who moved to LA and worked in LA. And all along that crazy journey, which was, I was like the customer to all these other people's offers, right? Of be in this, be in that type of thing, right? Here's what I know, which is very pertinent to me, which is I don't have any ability to fake it till you make it. And so if you've ever heard or been told, just fake it till you make it, right? And you're like, that does not sit right with me. Like in my gut, in my core, in my instinct, fake it till you make it doesn't resonate with me. And here's how I will really tell you that I knew this for a fact. The way that I knew this was that my body 100% betrayed me. My body 100% would put on waves of nausea, and I would want to just throw up as fast as I could or get away from something, right? Fight or flight, flight. I would want to throw up. I would want to run to the toilet and run to the bathroom. I would want to expel everything from my body. And is that graphic? Sure it is. But that's how emotional so many things really are when it comes to business. Now, I was an actor and it was my business. And interestingly, maybe very much like you, there were two sides to that business, right? On one hand, I was a well-trained actor. And as an actor, I have no problem, especially at this point, saying I was a pretty damn good actor. Like in terms of like being an actor's actor and how did I use the craft to make things work, I was a pretty damn good actor. However, there is never acting without the business side of acting. And I was a crap auditioner. I was such a bad auditioner. And because my body betrayed me. I hear on podcasts, especially now in so many places, how people, right? Oh yeah, I was doing stand-up and my nerves were gonna kill me and I ran to the bathroom and this and that. And they still did really well. I was not that person. And there's a couple reasons at this point, fast forward decades in my life now, and I know for a fact I am such a deep, true introvert. I am such a highly sensitive person. I am such a person who just can't fake it till you make it. And in terms of business, there is another path. It's really important and clear, and it almost can bring tears to my eyes. It's so true and wonderful to know that there is a path where you don't have to fake it till you make it. You can actually come in full force, all yourself, own everything, and really deeply connect with people. And you don't have to fake it till you make it, and all those other things that come along with it with this type of business as opposed to something like the acting type of business. So today, right, this is all such a great reminder of just how emotional that marketing and advertising is and will always be, and how you will start to get to know how it's emotional for you. Are you a really heart-centered person in your business? But when you go to work on your business, you're just like an all business person. And it's like that beautiful, true persona of who you are serving, delivering your business is just like some weird taskmaster holding a gun to people's heads. That's really crazy, right? There's a lack of things syncing up and aligning. And usually something about that, and especially, that's definitely the truth and it's definitely the fact when ultimately your marketing is a real challenge, right? You have a clear purpose and a clear mission, you have a beautiful heart, but the marketing is just so uncomfortable, it's so awkward, it's such an uphill battle, and it becomes nothing but a constant struggle. So we're talking about that today in terms of know, like, and trust. Now, you will have noticed by now, perhaps, that I am working through kind of the other side of a cold, and I have what we in my family like to call sexy voice. For me, as a child of the 80s, for sure, this to me was always the Kathleen Turner voice, because the Kathleen Turner voice was that sultry, kind of quite raspy voice. And this is just what I come to you with today. So bear with me as we kind of move through, hopefully me not having a coughing fit for you. All right, today's main goal is really to go from this position of I have no idea how to create a really great relationship with future customers, right? That is built fully and completely in know, like, and trust. To taking you from that place of, I don't know, all the way to, I know exactly why anyone who finds me can easily know, like, and trust me. And I also know exactly how to share that simply, clearly, and easily with a client, future client, prospective client, lead, any way you want to think about it. We're going to go from having no idea or getting all this contradictory stuff that never sits right with your gut about fake it till you make it, or I'm not sure what to say, right? If you're never sure what to say, this is going to start to solve all of those problems, so you never have a problem with knowing what to say ever again. Now, we're going to look at this from two sides of the very same coin, right? When we think about, and again, always comes back to the customer journey. Someone enters your world and they move along this journey until they become a customer, a buyer, someone who goes deeper in your business, right? We're going to start there first. So we can take a look at what your audience's experience of know, like, and trust with you specifically is. And then we're going to go a lot deeper really fast with your own experience of what that know, like, and trust, KLT, right? What that KLT is just for you and how it works just for you and how you can start to make it better. So from your audience's perspective, right? I want to pull apart for a second. So there's, right, in marketing and online marketing especially, right? You especially, for an easy example, see this with like avatar, where people are like, yep, I've done the work on my avatar. I know exactly who my avatar is. And then you have conversations about their marketing or their sales, and they're not really applying or using their avatar at all, right? The same thing is very true with something like know, like, and trust. People say know, like, and trust quite a lot, but they don't really pull it apart and make use of it. This is all about making a lot of use of the things that you kind of have an idea of. So no, from your audience's perspective, to start with the no is literally at first all about just knowing who your business is, knowing who you are as a brand representative or the face of your brand, as the offers or just what your brand does, the services that you offer, and then the individual things that you offer. That is literally what advertising is for. It is never lost on me that for the gross majority of businesses that I work with, especially ones who are like, I want to find new people, right? Ultimately, the first touch someone who's a stranger and doesn't know your business is going to have is with your ad. And yet they rush through and give no attention or care. There's no love and time spent on the ads themselves. And they throw stuff out and it's like, that's the worst "hi, my name is Josh" moment ever, right? You are giving people literally a terrible experience if you are rushing through, throwing some ads together and throwing some ads out there. That's always the message that I keep repeating to people in the most gorgeous, joyful way that I possibly can, to really encourage people to never rush through these type of things. But ultimately, great marketing will always start with, does anybody even know who you are? It becomes a little different, but it always starts with that. And interestingly, you can decide if this is still you or parts of this is still you, where people are constantly asking that question, really with good intentions. Why aren't more people buying? But they're not finding leads and prospects. They're not using advertising and marketing at all, almost, to bring attention to their offers. People literally can't know their offers because the marketing and advertising pieces just aren't there, or they're so deeply incomplete. These are the gaps we're here to fill in for you. So no seems quite obvious to people, and yet many people don't really take actions to let the world around them, who deserves and needs to know about them, to be able to find out how to know more about them. Let's move on to like. Like is really mostly at this point really about giving people the chance to get to know you. And it is certainly about relatability, right? There's always those things where, right, I have like a very dark sense of humor. In fact, I often censor myself in many situations because I will come up with that thing that is so dark sometimes that people are like, oh, you went there really fast, because that just is how my sense of humor goes. I know who I can share that readily with. I also know who is not going to, who's going to like leave the present moment and be like, oh my God, this is completely insane. Yes, I'm a little crazy at times. So are you in your own way. It's really like giving people the chance to say, do I like your crazy? Do I connect to your crazy? Are you crazy in a way that even I don't want to share my own crazy with the world, but you're kind of like my vicarious thrill, right? I follow lots of comedians and things like this, and some people would say things that I'm always thinking and I would never ever say. Does that make me a less courageous person? I don't think so, but I'm also not a comedian, for example, right? I'm a business owner and I'm a business person, as you are. So you have to always have certain boundaries, but like is really about getting people to not just like you, right? It's never like, oh, I really want them to like me, right? We all can have had that somewhere in our past quite easily. I think it's really fair to say. But ultimately, it's not like I want to be liked by the most people. And we talked about this in different ways in throughout this whole thing, even since it started, about niching down and having better niches. We'll go deeper, don't worry. But ultimately, right, it does want to be more about just letting people recognize you and recognize what it is about you that they like, right? I think many times about different groups of people, right? People's tribes. That's such low-hanging fruit for people to take further action. If someone is like, you're part of my larger tribe, even if I don't personally know you, but you're part of my larger tribe, I'm going to go all in faster than someone who, oh, I don't know about that, because fear is obviously a motivating factor for people. And we have to be aware of that and really be conscious of that. So again, if you give people the chance to get to know you faster, you're going to have a far easier time bringing people into your world, letting them get to know you. And that quite naturally leads on to the next part, which is trust. Trust is quite simply nothing more than saying, I have the answer to your problem, and you can believe that I can solve your problems. The problems that you have in your life, in your business, in your relationships. For me, every business that I work with, they solve problems in someone else's life, business, and relationships, right? If you have a problem in your life, business, and relationships, ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm going to show you how I can actually help solve those problems. I answer questions all day long from clients. I answer questions periodically from students who are really trying to figure out, why am I stuck here? Why am I stuck? And I know that there's no reason for anybody to get stuck for too long, right? It's good to stop and say, I don't know what the answer to this is, What does that mean? It really means truly nothing more than you haven't been introduced to that skill yet. Maybe you haven't mastered that skill yet, or you just need to ask a question. GTS, as the kids say these days, right? And nobody needs to just GTS. When you're in an area like business that is more strategic and you are making offers that are $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $25,000+, which is what most of my clients especially do and most of my students, right? You're not going to tell your audience to GTS. You're going to connect those dots along the customer journey for them. You're going to make it simpler for them and you're going to do that. How are you going to show them that you can do that though? And the trust part of this from their angle especially is to demonstrate the trust. How can you demonstrate this trust? Now, this is a great time for me to go back and take a trip down memory lane because many years ago, as I was transitioning away from an actor's career into a business career and knowing that I wanted to really successfully spend time coaching people and getting people to their next level, I knew that I personally had to bring people through a sales process to be able to do this. And my sales process of being able to do this made me take some crazy leap of faith to go actually do really hardcore intensive sales. And it was not a sales that was part of my comfort zone, part of any of my experience, part of any of these things. And I was like, I need to take a shortcut and go faster to be able to make offers to people better. Because like I said, not an extrovert, not what I would call back then, especially the most charismatic person in the room, not the life of the party. I needed to cut through to the heart of the matter for someone, right? I still needed to ask for a sale. And that's what this comes back to. So we have like, and trust from the audience's perspective. You have giving them the chance to just know who your business is, which most people don't even get that far. They just want more sales from the same 80 people, right? And it's like, well, we got to broaden this out a little bit and let more people find out who you are and what you have to offer. We have like, which is to get to know you better, which is quite literally just the next step of a more advanced know. How do they know you? Do they know who you are? Do they know what you stand for? Do they know what you value and what your values are? Are you in any way part of any of their tribes? Because we're all actually part of several different tribes, right? You may have your social tribe, you may have your spiritual tribe, you have your family tribe, your friend tribe, your multiple different friend tribes, and you may have your values tribes, which come out in very specific ways and things you do, right? And all of those things are a little different. How do you even give people a chance to see those different sides of you? Especially if you're hitting a wall and you're like, I keep attracting the same people in the business and I don't really want to. I want to serve younger people. I want to serve people with X, Y, or Z. All of those things are valid. And finally, of course, trust. And let me take one more second to talk about trust, because trust is showing people that you do have the solution to their problems, right? You need to actually create a demonstration of some kind. And when I think back to those sales days, I was doing demonstrations. I don't know if you know me well, but can you imagine? There I was in a Costco, right? I was in a Costco demonstrating, this was like a decade plus ago, nonstick pans, or I was demonstrating Vitamix or something. Here's what you can do with a Vitamix with a little microphone on, making smoothies and soup and ice cream. And gosh, that machine worked really well. And people bought them and I got a commission from that. And why did it work? Because I had a script that I was following, and I am charismatic just enough, but also I knew that if I'm giving free stuff away, which is effectively what it is, I could have a crowd of 30 people there, and maybe 4 or 5 people would see and stay for every element. Oh, I like the smoothie. Oh, you can do soup. I can't believe that. What? You're doing ice cream right after hot soup? And it was hot soup on top of it, right? And you're like, this is absolutely insane. And people are like, I'm down for that. I'm good with this. I'm going to get healthy. I'll make a smoothie like that. Plus, it's easy to clean. Done. Sign me up. And there we are getting commissions. I didn't love that. It wasn't my life's work. It wasn't something that meant the world to me by comparison, but I was glad to be of some service to somebody, and I was glad to put myself out there. I was able to demonstrate what I was able to do and what I was able to do for them in whatever they were really looking for. And that's a really, really important thing to constantly come back to think, oh, there's more to this. I need to show people what this is like. Let's do a quick flip around now and really dive deep fast and much faster into know, like, and trust. Hey, it's Josh here. Are you finally ready for advertising that works every single time? If so, then download the 3 T's of great advertising right now. We're going to give you our simple 3-step system that quite literally works every time for ads that do the job time and again. And as well, we're also going to give you the 7 marketing must-haves. These are the main principles so you can get the absolute most out of your investment in any type of Facebook and Instagram ads and beyond. Don't hesitate. Let's get started today and make this super simple. It's certainly not rocket science, and there's no smoke and mirrors. Download it today at www.goldenringmarketing.com/get started. One more time, that's www.goldenringmarketing.com/get started. And we'll see ya on the other side. Not from your audience's perspective, the starting point of that customer journey, but right through what it's like as it comes towards a sale. Because this is where things get a little iffy. This is where things become tense and tight, and we want to come back to. This is where you do not need to know how to fake it till you make it, okay? You actually, in a different way, for certain people, right? So I will actually own the fact that if you are an extreme extrovert, if you are what almost, more than 50% of people are like, oh, so attractive, so magnetic, so charismatic. If you're that person and you get a lot of attention, you receive a lot of easy things coming to you, right? Maybe you don't. Maybe you still do have a touch of imposter syndrome, but because so much comes your way, it's easy to add in a little more fake it till you make it because so much is streaming your way anyway. And I see this, listen, I lived in LA and New York for like 20 years total. I don't live in either place anymore, but you see that happening quite frankly all the time. When you don't live in those places, when you're not surrounded by people who are literally models and actors, right? You kind of don't experience or see what that's actually like on a regular basis. You don't see things easily flowing to people who are like, they're just there. You're like, how does that person get so much attention? They're literally just standing there, or they've literally just smiled. And that's fair. If you're not used to seeing that and you haven't experienced this realm of concentrated charisma and magnetism, I'm here to tell you, I've spent 20 years in it, in a place like New York and a place like LA. And those places really confirm that so many things do flow. But if you happen to be someone who doesn't always want to try to be the life of the party and try to, it almost becomes awkward, right? Where you're like, oh, if I become the center of conversation, somehow I feel like I'm monopolizing the conversation or something like that, right? You know when that's true for you. And you know deep in your gut, you know right here that fake it till you make it is not going to work. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do if so many people's advice is just fake it till you make it? And you're like, my body is literally, right? I want to say this, right? If that's mostly the advice you're getting to fake it till you make it, and you know that your gut is telling you my body is rebelling against that, the integrity, the instinct, everything inside of me is saying it doesn't feel right, what are you going to do instead? And you have plenty of options. The first one I'm going to put to you specifically is you really need to start to hold on really tight to that belief that you do have the answers. And you have to actually start to ask yourself before other people start inundating you with those questions, how do you have those answers? If you are still on the fence about being sure if you're able to solve people's problems, then you have more work to do. And maybe that's the case where if you do have some sort of course or a group program or coaching package or any of those things, which most of the people watching this will have had, right? That's where you do start out working maybe for free. And maybe you're not working for free. God forbid you say the F word and it's not other people's F word, but it's your F word, right? Maybe you do things for free until you know that you have the belief, oh, I have plenty of skill, plenty of experience, plenty of knowledge to share with people. And I can easily start asking for what I know I want for this in return. It's a business. If it's a business, you have to make the business run itself. You have to create stability so that you can grow effectively and then you can scale. That's your customer journey for yourself. But sometimes when you're starting, or sometimes if you're in a challenging place, you have to truly hold on to that belief. And sometimes you just have to take that into a meditative place where you have to remind yourself, where did you really serve someone well, right? I could say almost any of the day of the week, at 1 minute in that day, I will think, God, I am such a crap business person. Now, I know that I'm not a crap business person. I know that I've saved and not supported, but just built so many people's businesses. I know that, including I've done it for myself. But there will always be that new skill, that thing that didn't happen as fast as you wanted it to happen, right? Where you're like, God, I'm so crap at this. And you gotta take that moment and let that be a trigger for you to remind yourself. I will now give myself 3 examples of where I am an excellent, superb business person who has supported and helped so many people and helped go take them to their next level, whether it's from 4 to 5 figures, 5 to 6 figures, 6 to multi-6 figures, or multi-6 to 7 figures. And I go back and I take those examples and I'm like, for that second, I really was crap and I'm okay with that. But I'm actually really good at this. And you absolutely need to do that. And you need to remind yourself of that. And you need to keep that belief very clear and strong. If you have little triggers that are on your walls or here or there or on your computer or on your desk, whatever, to do that, do whatever it takes until you no longer have any even glimpse of that imposter syndrome, until if you happen to be that person, that imposter syndrome just makes its way back up again when you're doing something new. It's okay. You won't self-implode. I promise you. I'm still standing here. I have not exploded like Stranger Things season 3, I believe, all over the place, right? All right. Also, most people are going in for the kill. And I want to say, it is not so much out there for many new and smaller businesses. It is not so much out there a situation of nurturing someone and guiding them through a customer journey. It is more like a safari where that person has an air rifle and they are ready to claim their prey. That is the case where it's like, why are you going in for the kill too quickly? Why are you assuming something's wrong with the client when they're not taking your offer immediately? Because again, that is a situation where the customer journey is incomplete to them. It's unclear. The best thing I can say to any newer person in business or any client or customer, kindly, gently, and truly, is at the end of the day, your audience will never connect the dots for themselves for your business and your offers. You get the honor, opportunity, and the huge privilege of connecting all the dots for them. And when I say honor and privilege, it is because when you connect all those dots and you've fulfilled that honor and privilege, you don't grow your business, you scale your business. You prove all your offers. You get rid of what doesn't work. You double down on what really works. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous process. But you've done it yourself. You've actively made that happen, and you've probably deeply changed people's lives, relationships, or businesses along the way. Which really leads me to the next thing, which is saying, right, you have a deep, true, really gorgeous mission or purpose that drives your business forward. The thing that moves and stimulates that customer journey through. Ultimately, if you are allowing the mission of your business to help you overcome obstacles, everything gets really easy, like stupid easy, right? It's so simple where you're like, why am I pushing and shoving? Instead, I can truly start to magnetize. You can stop pushing, shoving, going in for the kill, and you can truly start to bring people closer to you more naturally. It is kind of like saying, am I creating my own charisma that I didn't feel like I have out of thin air? In some ways, absolutely, right? Remember, it's really not magic. It's always going to be math. It's always going to be a customer journey. You really can't keep insisting that people buy when you don't have new leads and prospects to offer those things to, because that's not how business is ever going to work. It's never worked like that, and it's not going to work like that. So come back to your mission. Have your stronger touchstone, right? Just like I was saying, when you have those moments in terms of your own know, like, and trust, where you're like, why should people like me? Why should people trust me? Why should anybody know me? Right? Maybe it becomes a moment, just a moment and a split second of, do I deserve their business? Am I worthy of their business? Worthy and deserve, you get to turn them around as fast as possible, because your audience is not going to do it for you. It's not their role. Their role is to take whatever you offer and run with it for themselves. That is a gorgeous thing. Finally, you want to let yourself be seen so that the like process really happens naturally. Now, I want to throw a couple things in quickly, because this conversation can't happen without those things. It's really important with marketing to always talk about and mention and consider manipulation. The reason that I like to put that front and be really proactive about talking about that is we almost all have been in some sort of situation where we feel like we've been manipulated with marketing. And many people, because they've been there, because something has felt salesy, sleazy, pushy, any of those three things ever, ultimately, the fact that marketing works and is proven doesn't mean that you ever need to be sales, sleazy, or pushy, or manipulative. It's not part of the equation. It doesn't have to be. For many people, though, because they've had a bad experience, they assume all marketing actually is like that. But we know that it isn't. And finally, it's really not about charisma, right? You don't have to be a salesperson. You don't have to be the loudest, the brightest bulb in the room. You can let your natural light shine out. You can let people get to know you and let them be connected to you. So I want to give you a couple steps to take action if this is your time to move through some of those blocks and obstacles. And even more so, provide a clearer, easier, more beautiful, joyful, fun path for your customers in terms of know, like, and trust. Number one, where do you feel like you may still be manipulating a little bit? Are you feeling a little too much like a faker that you have to manipulate language or something like that? Jot it down, get it out of your system. Just put anything, boom, 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 boom. Barely even think about it. Think, where do I not feel comfortable about what I'm putting out there? And then just work through each one to say, how can I both feel better about this, but also feel more clear about it so that I'm doing a better job of connecting all these dots for the audience member who really is interested but needs to understand things better. The next thing to really dive into and spend some time with is, what do your friends, especially family for sure, but what do your friends or the people who you get to spend the most fun time with, what do they love about you? And how much of that are you actually bringing into your business? How much of yourself, in the best possible way, are you showing people all the different sides of you? Because we are all so obviously multifaceted that it's kind of like an actor who just doesn't want to be typecast. Action role, action role, action role. And it's like, maybe you want to play a little drama sometime. Maybe you want to do a little comedy once in a blue moon. But the people who you have the most fun with, who you know that they have the most fun with you, who you know that you know how to make them laugh, what is it about those relationships and how does that show up in your business? Do you never show that side of yourself in your marketing, in your language, in your messaging, in your video content, any of that? You get to flip that around today. But spend a little time jotting it down and understanding it and really calling it forth and calling it up to some degree so you can say, what do I feel like I wish more people knew about me? And just start to deliver it. Finally, how can people trust you more naturally without you having to somehow fake it until you make it, right? That just never worked for me. It just made me sick to my stomach. I just didn't feel like there was a good need to do that. So at the end of the day, how can you demonstrate certain things more? What do people have questions about? What do people say they really want? If they're not telling you directly what they want, how can you find that out a little differently? And how can you simply start to demonstrate that in a way that they'll start to pay attention, right? When we think of things going viral, oftentimes those things are high energy things, right? So on one end of the spectrum, you have things that like make people really outraged and angry. I can't believe they said that. I can't believe they think that. I can't believe they would even say that publicly and not be ashamed. On the other end of the spectrum, we have things that make people really laugh, that they really want to share. That's why things are going so viral, where it's like, oh my God, that's so hysterical. I want Susie, Jenny, and Tim, and Alan to know all about these things, right? At the end of the day, right, these are the things that people want to share. But are you able to put out their stuff that they're able to share even? That's like, oh, you thought you had a problem with this. Look, this person exactly knows what they're doing. That's you. So you want to keep it a little simpler and a little easier there. All right, so today we dove into know, like, and trust. We really have helped, hopefully, you make a big shift to go from, I'm really not sure how to create a solid relationship with a future customer that's really based in their reality and truth, which is needing to get to know, like, and trust you, having a face to the brand, always shortcut and make life easier for yourself, have a face to your brand. But going from that place of I'm not really sure, I don't know why, to I know exactly why someone would know, like, and trust you, your product, or your service, and you also, and you also know exactly how to deliver all of those elements in your marketing and not hide from it, not shy away from it. In fact, simplify and streamline it, right? It's my annual theme, simplify and streamline. You certainly don't need to make it your theme, but you can certainly do this by really making clear your know, like, and trust element in your business and really make that customer journey so much smoother and connect all those little dots for your beautiful audience. So that's know, like, and trust. If you enjoyed this, if you have gotten anything that you know can move the needle for you, please go ahead, like, follow, and subscribe. That really does such a great job in helping other people find this and get some extra help for themselves to do this. If you want to go deeper, please check us out online at goldenringmarketing.com. Again, that is goldenringmarketing.com. If you go there, you can also find us on our socials, whether that is YouTube, or Instagram or LinkedIn or any of those type of things. We will be happy to take you to the next step there. If you have more questions, let us know. And for this podcast, please, if you have questions or things that came to mind or things where then it stimulated more conversation, if you have more questions, there is a little field in the show notes here where you can actually ask that question. And I am going to start answering your questions in this format starting very soon. So let me know your questions, please. I look forward to providing you something to get you unstuck, create more momentum, and keep you moving forward. See you next time.